star that lights the road. I take this ride. Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. I take it to the edge where I can live 1,000 lives. Or maybe I could be the one. I'm riding to the setting sun tonight. Just drive.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the F1 show.
4 races, 3 winners, 2 continents and a nice suntan. Time to take stock of what's been an eventful 2013 so far.
Absolutely superb, Jimmy. Brilliant. Well done, mate. Nico, please drop back. This is silly, Seb. Come on. Careful. Looks like you wanted it bad enough. In there, Lewis. Right in front, mate. Right in front. Phenomenale. Phenomenale. Fantastic, Seb.
So, rogues, rivalries and some real racing. It's been very entertaining stuff so far this season. And to give their views, a couple of die-hard racers join us in the studio. Fresh off the podium in Bahrain, it's Caterham's GP2 ace Alexander Rossi. And from Lotus F1, their multiple championship-winning technical director, James Allison. Welcome to you both.
Yes, indeed, welcome. Tell us about Bahrain. It was a great Saturday for you, less so on the Sunday.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Saturday to get on the podium in my GP2 debut was obviously something that was a very welcome thing to have. But then Sunday, it's kind of, you want to carry the momentum forward, and to kind of have an issue in turn 1 and have to pit for a new wing and finish last was not what I had hoped for. But at the end of the day, to come into the weekend with really no testing and to be able to be on the podium was a great confidence boost, and I think started my championship challenge at least off on the right foot.
It was. I mean, we'll be talking about the late change to your GP2 car a little bit later, or the team anyway. James, second and third for Kimi Raikkonen and Romain Grosjean at the last race in Bahrain. You could go better. You could have won the race, but was Vettel beatable?
Well, no, I don't think we were quick enough in the race to have beaten him, whether or not we'd qualified a little bit higher up the grid. But it was a strong second and third, and we were very pleased with that.
Okay,
Certainly was.
thanks, gents. Here's what we've got coming up on tonight's show. Fresh off a strong weekend in Bahrain for Paul di Resta, we catch up with his team boss, Bob Fernley.
I think testament to his ambition. He's determined to make it and go all the way in Formula One.
We've an exclusive example of a new entertaining and electric race series, Formula E.
It is the future. I think you see the automotive industry going towards hybrid cars, electric cars, and it's only natural for racing to go the same way.
And we bring you up to date with the second race weekend in the GP2 series.
So plenty coming up over the next hour with James and Alexander. But first, to the winner of our latest race, and indeed the only double winner in Formula One 2013 so far, Sebastian Vettel.
No sooner had he wrung the rose water out of his race suit than he was on a private jet and off from the Middle East to Russia to check out preparations for next year's first ever Russian Grand Prix.
From Bahrain to the Black Sea resort of Sochi, Sebastian Vettel became the latest F1 driver to visit the proposed circuit around the Winter Olympic Park.
I think it was good fun. Obviously the circuit is not completely ready, but it was a good opportunity to get a bit of an idea of the track and a first feeling.
Depending on its completion, the 3.7-mile track is set to host the first Russian Formula One race in 2014. And despite being a long way from being finished, the three-time world champion was left in no doubt. But there's reason to be positive about the newest addition to the F1 calendar.
By the looks of it, by the drawing, I think it could be a very interesting and challenging track with, as we mentioned, quite some fast corners. Hopefully plenty of places to overtake, so that the racing is quite exciting. to pass, various big stadiums integrated, in a park, as I said, and you have the sea, the mountains in the background. So I think that's, what you can see also from the inside of the car. But surely your main focus is on the track, and I'm looking forward to experience that.
Well, James, what do you make about it going to Russia? I went there earlier this year. There's certainly a real groundswell of support for motorsport in the country.
Well, I personally love it whenever we go to a new place. There's a new town to learn, a new track to learn. It's just exciting because we go to the same places each year. So it'll be fun when it comes.
Not clear whether it's actually going to be finished on time. Certainly, if the FIA told you about a water splash in there so far.
They haven't, but it's become traditional for these things to be pushed quite near to the wire, but I'm sure it'll be finished.
Do you fancy racing there, Alexander?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that would mean I would be in a car next year, so that's definitely a goal. But like James said, anytime you get to go to a new track, for drivers, it's such a cool experience because the first time you leave pit lane, you're a bit lost, honestly, and you can do as much sim work and preparation as you want, but to actually go through the lap the first time and without it being memorized, it's quite a cool experience.
But it's something you can learn on. I mean, we saw those, there's PR junkets there, so you've got Sebastian, you've got Red Bull's David Coulthard there as well, but you can always learn, even if you're being made to do it by a sponsor, do you feel you can always learn something either about the country or about the culture that you're going or something about the racetrack itself? Yeah, I think you'll learn kind of what food maybe to stay away from and such, but at the end of the day, it's more about kind of getting used to the environment that you're in, I guess. And, Formula One, you do go to so many countries in the year, and to kind of know the good and bad places in each one is only going to be a positive. Very true.
Right, Sebastian is sure to be catching up on some much-needed rest. It does seem that he's been in the centre of most of the action so far this year.
And it's away we go. Sebastian Vettel gets a decent start. Massa flying behind Mark Webber. Here goes Kimi Räikkönen again.
What a race we've got on now. He's done it. He's done it around the outside.
Alonso goes past Sutil. Vettel now behind both of them.
This is personal.
Hamilton dives down the inside.
Räikkönen now has got this under control. Game, set and match.
Räikkönen wins the first Grand Prix of the season and starts off with absolute perfection. It's a decent start from Vettel, and Massa is starting to catch him, and Fernando Alonso is right wheel to wheel with his teammate. As Alonso, I think, touches the back of Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull.
That's badly damaged.
We're moving up in second place. As
He's going to go straight. Watch out, Mark.
Absolutely gives up. Unbelievable.
Lewis Hamilton has had a bit of memory fade and has gone to McLaren.
Marcus, put slow, get him out of the way.
We have got quite a battle going on out in front.
The right front is completely off. He's hanging on by the threads.
It's going to be close. Webber's got the inside line. Webber just about keeping ahead. Covers the line beautifully.
Careful, Sebastian, careful. I think goes so much faster. Just let me drive past.
Negative, Nico.
Oh, look, it's wheel to wheel again for the two Red Bulls. Can Webber scrap back? Oh, fantastic stuff. Vettel goes dancing round the outside, and it's a dance that takes him into the lead of this race. Wow. As the checkered flag comes out and is waved for Sebastian Vettel, who wins the Malaysia Grand Prix.
Good job, Sebastian. Good job. Looked like you wanted it bad enough. Still, there'll be some explaining to do.
It's lights out, and away we go. And it's a decent start from Fernando Alonso, ahead of Räikkönen already, and so is Massa. There goes Alonso, now side by side with Hamilton. Alonso gets into the lead. Oh, look at that. Esteban Gutierrez.
And his contact is Webber.
Oh, his wheels come on. It is all happening here in China today. Down the main straight he goes, pulls out to the inside and sweeps back into the lead once again. Fernando Alonso wins the Chinese Grand Prix. Kimi Räikkönen comes over second. Lewis Hamilton locks up. Vettel is now going to race into the line, but the line comes quickly for Hamilton. Fernando Alonso back in business here in China. Sebastian Vettel gets an excellent start, and Nico Rosberg moves over to cover him. Fernando Alonso is sweeping round the outside. But look, here comes Sebastian Vettel on the inside at turn 7. For his race, absolutely ruined. Sebastian Vettel swoops into the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
great dicing between the two McLaren boys.
And here comes Kimi Räikkönen onto the marbles. Oh, Grosjean's going to have the inside line. De Resta has to yield. Sebastian Vettel wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. What a performance!
So 2 wins, you might say one of them was stolen, a third and a fourth see Sebastian Vettel lead the Drivers' Championship by 10 points from Kimi Räikkönen. Lewis Hamilton now up to third despite not winning a race yet in front of Fernando Alonso. Paul de Resta is the overachiever ahead of Nico Rosberg and both McLaren drivers. And both Daniel Ricciardo and Jean-Eric Vergne have scored points, which is more than you can say for the Williams drivers, unfortunately for them. In the Constructors, Red Bull Racing lead that very nicely by 16 points to James Allison's Lotus team. Then the slightly underachieving Ferrari Force India 3 points ahead of McLaren, who are down in 6th, and Sauber dropping down to 8th.
So, James, do you expect to be tucked in at this stage of the season behind Red Bull? You're the ones really
second.
pushing them.
Oh, were you talking drivers or teams?
Well, teams.
I think in the Constructors' Championship, I don't think we're far off. I think we have a strong driver pairing. Admittedly, Romain is only really getting into full stride now, but as a driver pairing, our car, I think, probably ought to be somewhere there or thereabouts, yes. I think in the Drivers' Championship, clearly Fernando's well out of position.
Right, okay, so we'll be looking at Ferrari a little later, but you would have expected him to be second. Now, having said that, you wouldn't not expect Kimi to be pushing for the championship. That's your stated and his stated aim this year. So no real surprise to see him in second.
I just said Fernando was out of position. I didn't say anything else.
Right, but you feel Kimi will be there or thereabouts by the time we get to the
I
end
think
of the season?
that Kimi will have a very strong season this year, and we don't have to improve our car much to keep him properly in the title hunt all the way through the year.
Alexander, for you, who's been a standout performer from the first 4 races?
I think definitely Paul last weekend. I mean, to fight for the podium in Formula One is something that's quite special. And the fact that he did that in a car that, you know, has always been kind of a mid-pack car, and that he was there for pretty much the entire race, that's very impressive.
And the fact that people were disappointed that he wasn't on the podium goes to show just the great strides that they've made.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone would have loved to see him bar James over here.
Yeah, still here.
Yeah, would love to see him on the podium, but it's, you know, I think that it could happen for them this year, and both Adrian and him are looking strong in quite a few areas.
And no points for Caterham as yet, but I think you had your best race of the season in Bahrain. The car seemed to find at least half a second.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that our hybrid car from kind of 2012 to this year was going to struggle a bit in the first 4 races, and the update in Bahrain was obviously clear that everybody, you know, wanted to see that, and it was something that, you know, we actually wanted a bit more from it, and, you know, we're hoping that in Barcelona, when we have the update again, we can make an even bigger step forward, but at the same time, it's very clear that obviously everyone else is going to have an update, so we'll just cross our fingers and wait to see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, James, I just wanted to ask you about Bahrain and Kimi's stops. Doing 2 stops again to Sebastian Vettel's 3 stops. How crucial do you think that was? Do you think Vettel could have done a 2-stop race if he'd chosen to? Because his tyres look in pretty good condition. And is that something we're going to see carry on, Kimi doing 1 stop fewer?
I suspect that Sebastian could quite easily have done 2 stops. It was very close to being able to do a 1-stop for us. So. But it's not 2, 3, it's not really important. What's important is going quickly. A 3-stop was the quickest way if you're in free air, but having qualified out of position for our car where we were, 2 stops was a way of racing in a way where we weren't going to get caught up with all the cars in front who were actually quite a lot slower than us.
Okay, well, let's have a look. We've already mentioned Ferrari's problems. Let's go and have a look at where they started. Just a question about your qualifying. Why was it that you were out of position? Was that qualifying where you thought you were going to be in Bahrain?
No, I think we probably felt we should have been 4th, 5th, something like that. Our Q2 time was probably more representative of what we could have done. But the grid's tight, and a very small mistake either from the team or the wind or the driver, whatever, all of it, you only need to make a very small error and you'll tumble many, many places, and that's what happened with us.
Okay, small errors. Let's talk of that and see what happened to Fernando Alonso in Malaysia. Now, what would you put this down to? Driver choice or a team mistake, not pitting with a broken front wing?
Well, it's quite difficult to make a comment because to some extent there, but for the grace of God go we when we have a good race, and these are very difficult decisions to make live. But I was there at the time, and I remember thinking as he went past the pit entry and didn't come in, I remember thinking that's extremely brave. It was a wing hanging off on one bolt, and the likelihood of getting round the next lap was slim.
Yeah. Okay. And then we had a DRS failure at the last race for Fernando Alonso. So something else, just small little things going wrong. Did you notice this when you were watching from the UK?
I did. I think the thing, I mean, it was an unusual failure, and no doubt one that they will be able to figure out very easily what actually happened. I think probably the thing at the time that surprised me was that having happened once, they allowed it to happen a second time by activating the DRS wing a second time.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting point you make. So that was when it happened. He was passing Nico Rosberg. Has to come in to the pits. They do take the opportunity to change tyres, so it's a little early, but it just needs a little pat down into its closed position. I thought they meant to fail in the closed position anyway.
They are supposed to do that, yes, and I guess it's difficult to design something to cope with every single failure mode in a closed position, but had they just continued the race from that first failure at this point, they really wouldn't have been overly compromised.
So do you think they had to... So you're saying when he knew that it had failed, you would have said after that point, don't try it again because it will probably fail again to your driver?
I would hope we would have done, yes, right. Because it was fairly clear that was going to happen a second time.
Well, you never know, they might have fixed it with a bash on the rear wing. Okay, so this is what it looked like as it was going round the track in its open position. And how much speed, lap time, would Fernando have lost? Because he looked like he was coping with a loss of downforce pretty well.
I don't know. Hard to say exactly how much you'd have lost in that position, but I would have thought three seconds a lap, something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he was turning in some decent lap times, even with the loss of downforce and the wing wide open. So he came back into the pits, and this is the last time it happened. And well, I mean, what did you think of his recovery as the team just come in here and just bash it down as high-class engineering?
Well, I mean, I think he drove a subsequently tidy race, compromised in his ability to overtake the people that he was then lined up behind. But spent a lot of the race subsequently in free air and made some progress through the field.
And if that was your car, would you be after a wholesale redesign of your DRS system, or would you just identify what went wrong, make sure it doesn't happen again to that specific point?
I think just identify what went wrong. The part will have run a lot, and you wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There'll be a small thing wrong and they'll fix it.
Okay, interesting. So small things, Natalie, which have cost Fernando Alonso some big points.
Thank you, gentlemen. More from the touchscreen still to come. Plus, we've got an electric race series to talk about.
And when teammates turn bad.
Hello, we're giving you the chance to get behind the wheel and share your views and questions with us at Sky Sports F1. All you have to do is write down your questions and send them to f1@skysports.com. Give us your full name and where you're from, and the best questions and opinions will be shared with all our viewers. Happy filming!
The human has been neutralized.
Welcome back to the F1 show. Yes, make sure you send us in all your opinions and questions. Nice bit of interaction there, Ted.
And we're going to show them.
Yes,
How
we
good is
are,
that?
indeed. Right, we've been talking a lot about teammates. McLaren, Mercedes and Red Bull have already had their problems keeping the peace.
Oh, did they come together? What was going on there? Extraordinary.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
That's Villeneuve and Zonta. The worst thing that can happen is for two teammates to hit each other.
I think Duress got a shove from his teammate Sutil there.
Look at that! This is the opportunity that Senna's looking for. he's going through. Out! Oh my goodness, this is fantastic.
Oh,
to
nice.
McLaren's touch.
What is he doing?
They're allowed to race, but it's a fundamental requirement that they don't drive into their teammates.
Perez is going to go for Button again. He just got a little bit too close, Sergio Perez.
He just hit me up the back. Calm him down.
So the wise words of Patrick Head there, don't run into your teammate. And we've had Red Bull drivers battling, we've had Mercedes drivers not being allowed to battle. Now, Alexander, we had McLaren drivers yet again battling. Now, who's running into who, and is it possible to say who's right and who's wrong? Button ahead of Perez.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think that there's a right or wrong in this sense because, I mean, Jensen's not going to give the corner away, is he? So, I mean, he's not pushing anyone around, and he's racing hard and he's racing clean.
He is. I mean, there's an element of older team statesman and young hotshot coming in, but they're both racing pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously they both have a point to prove, and what happens here with the contact is I think Jensen was just kind of on the inside line, and he didn't have kind of the trajectory right exiting the corner, and he may have just had to slow the car down a bit too much. I don't really think it was anything malicious, you know?
Yeah, okay. Well, this was, as you heard, a little clip in that little sequence, what Jensen said on the radio after that contact. Now, calm him down is slightly rude, isn't it? Because it implies that the team is actually going to have an influence and get on the radio and tell Sergio not to try and overtake his teammate again.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all here to race, and I think that's kind of the whole point of it. And until there's something that kind of compromises, you know, the other driver's safety or is intentionally pushing someone off track, I mean, to fight hard and to push hard, and especially in a team like McLaren, where I think, like I said, they're both trying to kind of prove a point against each other, it's going to happen.
Having said that, very lucky not to get a puncture there.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I think that Sergio probably was a bit panicky after that because, like Patrick Head said, you don't really want to be taking out your teammates. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah. Okay, well, panicky or not, Perez, you've got to love him, goes for it again. And do you think Jensen was a bit harsh here, pushing him off the road?
Yeah, here, unlike a couple laps earlier in turn one, Jensen didn't give Sergio kind of the space. And I think Jensen was maybe getting a little bit frustrated, and that was coming out a bit here. And kind of when you're pushing someone beyond the white line, beyond the curb, it gets a bit touch and go at that point.
Okay, touch and go. So Sergio wasn't happy about it. Jensen wasn't happy about it. And Jensen Button had someone interesting to blame when he spoke to Simon Lazenby, Damon Hill and Johnny Herbert immediately after the race.
To be fair, I totally blame Martin for everything. You need to be more aggressive, I think were your words last week. I don't know why they came out or for what reason.
But no. I mean, it's clear, that, and I told him, and Checo knows, hitting Jensen behind was that is over the limit, and it was tough. He's a very young driver, and we've got a very experienced guy here.
It's an exciting thing to talk about teammates fighting, and me saying what I did on the radio. That's part of racing, and the adrenaline's pumping. You know, I still agree with what I said, but but I think all in all, you know, I'm not gonna take him down.
Now, James, I'm actually fascinated about this sort of asserting yourself over your teammate kind of theory that the boys were talking about before. I could be reading too much into it, but laughter aside, there was certainly a bit of, I felt, Martin saying, yeah, don't worry, we're all pals here, bit of a pat on Jensen's back. But do you think Jensen was actually getting a genuine dig there to his team principal?
No, I thought he was just being quite funny, but then my wife always tells me I'm a bit socially inept, so maybe I just didn't read the signs.
But psychologically, you know, Jensen Button has gone into the season. He's seen off Lewis Hamilton at McLaren. OK, it was Lewis's choice to join Mercedes. But in his head, he's team leader. I'm not sure he expected this kind of aggro from Perez just yet. Do you think that's fair?
He probably didn't, but, you know, Sergio's got a point to prove. He's had a couple of quiet races, and he needs to show that he's meriting the place in that car.
Yes, he has had quiet races. That's the point. He was up to Sergio to actually show that he had the fight in him. He certainly did that, but perhaps against the wrong person.
Well, perhaps, yeah. But, I mean, in the same position, Alexander, you'd want to assert yourself in a new team, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one person you have to beat is your teammate. And I think everyone knows that. And when you're not beating them, it's quite stressful. to be honest, and you kind of want to work and do everything you can to beat them. But you know, like everything, there's a line, and I think that when things start to get crossed, it's tricky.
That's interesting you say it's stressful when you're not able to beat your teammate. Why? Because then the pressure builds on you?
Yes and no. Mostly because you start to lose your position as maybe the number one driver, and as much as teams will say that each drivers are equal and the cars are equal, that may be true, but at the same time, there's a human element to putting in that little bit extra effort into the driver that's performing better. And so you definitely want to be that driver. And when it starts to slip away from you a bit, you kind of have to find ways that if you're not going to be able to beat them on track, find ways you can kind of win the team over, if you will. So there's, I mean, like anything, there's a lot of things that get done behind the scenes.
He's a clever chap.
Buy them dinner.
Alexander. Yeah.
Buy them dinner, buy them nice watches,
Schmooze them.
anything.
Right, Formula One will be focusing on fuel efficiency when the new engine rules come out next year. But what about a race series that uses no fuel whatsoever? It's called Formula E, and it could soon be coming to a city centre near you. Bruno Senna and Nicolas Prost were at Silverstone, not only to race, but also to attend an event for the new FIA Formula E electric car series, which is set to race around the streets of the world in 2014, potentially including London.
It is the future. I think you see the automotive industry going towards hybrid cars, electric cars, and it's only natural for racing to go the same way. Motor racing has always been pioneering all the technologies we see on road cars nowadays, and this is the time that motor racing has to do the same and push the technology boundaries for the electric cars.
I think the project is very ambitious, very serious people behind it. The FIA is involved, so for us as race drivers is quite an appealing project, I think.
You have driven an electric racing car. What's it like?
Well, I drove it on the ice, and honestly, after 20 minutes, you forget it's electric. I mean, of course, there's a bit of noise. It's a strange noise, but there's a bit of noise. And then, you know, it's just a car, and what you want to do is go as fast as possible, and people have the same thing as you, and you have to go faster than them, but it's still racing. So for me, it was really something that was really interesting. I think it will attract young people, maybe more families, people that, you know, the noise was maybe scary for some people, so I think it will attract some motorsport fans, but also some new people, so I think it's good, you know.
The main idea for Formula E is to drive it solely on street races in cities around the world. That will surely help with its publicity.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you look at it, most of the Formula One races and all the races that are in city centres are always full, always really well attended. It's very nice for cities to have all the public there because you get the tourism going very strong. And you know, for us, for drivers, it's fun as well. For the whole series, it's much more fun. There's much more infrastructure around us, and it becomes a more fun event overall.
In light of your father and your uncle and their scraps at McLaren, what do you think about team orders?
I think what happened between my dad and Ayrton is it's just they were the best and fighting each other, and in the end it turned, I think people didn't see the end of the story and how close they became at the end. So it was just at some point the two best drivers fighting each other, and it's always going to be like this. I think it's a bit very different from what happened between Webber and Vettel.
Have your respective family names helped or hindered?
I mean, for me, they really didn't want me to be a racing driver. That's one thing. But then after it started, they were quite supportive, you know. But for a long time, it was no motorsport.
For me, it's really a great feeling to be nephew of Ayrton. You know, I managed to have lots of good moments with him, and to bring all those memories with me into motor racing is very special. So I think for all the drivers it was the same. There's always lots of pressure, lots of comparisons between you and your family member. But in the end of the day, it really depends on you, on making the most of it and trying to take it on a positive side.
What's 2014 going to hold? Are we going to see you in F1 together?
I mean, I don't think so. I think I really enjoy my job as test driver with Lotus, but in some other sense, talking about, you know, legacy, I'm really happy to be doing something a little bit different. And now I'm trying to win races my dad never won, you know. So I think for me it's really nice to be in endurance, and in some sense it's a little bit better for me.
Well, I never say no to Formula One. I mean, it's been with me until last year, and this year is a new chapter of my career. But you know, I'm looking forward to winning here, doing the best I can, and then seeing what motor racing has got in stock for me. But there's lots of opportunities out there. I'm going to look at them all the best, and Formula 1 is only worth it if you have the right car, if you're in the right place to be competitive. I'm in racing to win, not in racing to be part of the race.
It's lovely to see Bruno Senna again, isn't it? We miss him in Formula 1. I tell you what, wonderful to see Senna and Prost back together again. If you have a look at these pictures, look at that uncanny resemblance between father and son and uncle and nephew.
Nicolas Prost hasn't quite got the nose of his father, but Bruno's certainly got his uncle's eyes, hasn't he? But,
just lovely.
Yeah, great to see them both there. James, I want to ask you about electric car racing. Can they learn, is there something that both series, Formula E, if it indeed happens, and Formula 1 going to a much more fuel-efficient formula next year, is that something in terms of battery technology maybe they could learn from each other?
Honestly, I doubt it.
Okay.
But I'm not really the right person to ask. I'm afraid where motor racing is concerned, I'm a complete bigot. It's Formula 1 or nothing. I think this a year or so ago you tried to get me all misty-eyed about Le Mans, and you know, it's Formula 1 or nothing.
Okay, but Alexander, electric cars, something important at least to improve the technology and show at least the public in the street circuits that we're going to go to, if it happens indeed, that at least motor racing is trying to advance battery technology. Something you'd like to get into?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will open up a whole new audience to motorsports and introduce people that may have not been interested in it before, because it's going to be right in front of their house. And, you know, in that regard, it's quite cool. But I think most of us, all of us that are Formula 1 fans now would like to see Formula 1 as it is. And I think that the steps they're making, you know, the first steps they made with the whole KERS system and what they're making next year is to make the cars more efficient. And I think that Formula 1 is showing that the times are changing and the climate is changing. And for that, I mean, I think that you have to take their hats off to them. Whether it will be all electric at one point, I don't know. But personally, the battery technology and the battery racing doesn't really appeal to me at the moment.
Okay, well, nonetheless, we will keep abreast of Formula E. But coming up on the F1 show, we'll hear from the most improved team of the moment in Formula 1, Force India, and we'll have the latest on who's been winning big in GP2.
And he's right up on Sandberg. He's going to come down to the final corner. Felipe Nasr on Sandberg for the race win.
So even after a wonderful result, a great race, I think it just goes to show today where the team is and how much the expectations are within the team for it to perform.
Like the legend of the Phoenix, all ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning? The force from the beginning. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cause to the stars.
Still to come on the F1 show, we catch up with Force India's Bob Fernley. But first, it might have escaped your notice, but we did actually have a Brit on the top step of the podium in Bahrain. In GP2, if you missed it, here's what happened.
Good afternoon, everybody, and so far this weekend has been the domain of one man. That man is Fabio Lima. We are racing, and a much better start for Lima. Coletti already onto the back of him, and look at Bird up into third place already. The championship rivals go wheel to wheel. Lima holding on to the lead from Coletti. Bird having to defend from the Carlin driver, who goes one way, then the next. And that's a pretty nice move. 4.9 seconds now is Lima's lead over Coletti. Oh, and damage between Ricalmi and Frins. Your race leader, though, is Fabio Lima. He's looked untroubled all day. Fabio Lima wins from Stefano Coletti. Alexander Rossi on his GP2 debut, third place. Phenomenal job. And in Bahrain, we're racing. What a start from Stefano Coletti up into third. Oh, and big crash, but everybody bunched up. And Sam Bird on his teammate Tom Dillman for the lead of the race, and it's easy for Bird. Jolyon Palmer up the inside of Fabio Lima, who locks up, trying to keep it. The Briton behind. James Collado up the inside of Jolyon Palmer. Is he going to go round the outside of Quake Bobs? Oh, James. That's nice. That's really nice.
And he's right up on Sandberg. He's going to come down to the final corner. Felipe Nasr on Sandberg for the race win. Down the start-finish straight to the line. Who's it going to be for the win? It's going to be Sandberg over the line by millimetres.
What a finish here in Bahrain. What a finish. Sandberg, the very first GP2 victory for the Russian time team.
So, after 2 race weekends, Stefano Colletti leads the championship. We have 3 Brits in the top 6, and in 7th, our guest tonight, Alexandra Rossi. I think I called you Alexandra then, Alexander.
That's pretty impressive, actually, not to blow smoke up your what's-it, but because you missed the first round and then you come straight in with the podium. Was it easy?
No, I wouldn't say it was easy. It was a bit of a surprise when I found out that I was doing GP2 because I found out the weekend before in China, the Saturday. And obviously I was very excited to be able to be racing again because my original plan for 2013 didn't involve racing. It was kind of doing more what Botas did last year and just doing all the Friday sessions and going, or not all the Friday sessions, the selection of Friday sessions and going to all the events. So to get the opportunity to race was kind of a big enough bonus as it was. But then to get into the car on Friday and kind of just immediately be on pace was a very pleasant surprise. And then, you know, to get a podium in the first weekend was great.
And I know you don't like to credit your rivals particularly, but how have you assessed Sam Bird's win there, which is nice for him, and also James Colado's progress this year?
Sam's quite a good friend of mine, so I was honestly very happy to see him on the podium. And you know, he's had a rough beginning because he missed most of testing as well. So for him to get a win, you know, on the second weekend for him was quite impressive. And I think James, you know, he was definitely the standout driver last year. So it'll just be a matter of time before things turn around for him. I mean, he's with one of the best teams on the grid, I think. And ART is never far behind. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's, you know, towards the front in Barcelona in a couple of weeks.
And do you consider yourself a genuine title contender?
I should hope so. I mean, I'm not here to do anything but go for the championship. And, you know, I'm very pleasantly surprised to see myself in 7th, you know, after kind of doing one weekend. You know, I think that our pace is okay. You can always work on it and always improve it. But yeah, definitely going and try and fight for the championship.
Great stuff.
Good.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
From GP2 in Bahrain to F1 in Bahrain now, and Paul di Resta. He might have just missed out on the podium, but Paul's 12 points from 4th place in Bahrain have catapulted him up to 8th and his team up to 5th in the championship. So it's been a very happy Force India factory this week.
And off there goes Paul di Resta in the Force India. He's got the inside line. Decent move from di Resta. Oh dear, massive lock up there. Romain Grosjean coming home for 3rd. Hearts go out to Paul di Resta.
Well, let's start with Bahrain, so close to the podium. What an achievement for the team.
Yeah, a great achievement, and it's a strange feeling because, you know, I sat with Vijay and we both looked at each other and actually we were both a little bit disappointed. So even after a wonderful result and a great race, I think it just goes to show today where the team is and how much the expectations are within the team for it to perform.
What were you thinking when you could see Romain Grosjean closing down on Paul?
We probably knew in our heart of hearts that it was going to be very difficult for Paul. It's not the easiest of tracks to hold somebody behind, and the double DRS programs that are there make it relatively easy to overtake.
Paul seems a much happier man around the car this year.
Yeah, well, I think Paul's always a happy guy. I mean, he's very, very demanding on himself and equally on the team, and that's why he's there. I mean, we expect that to happen, but I think he's now relaxed and probably at ease with himself a little bit more. 3rd year into Formula One, he's beginning to settle in and deliver.
Do you think he's a possible future world champion?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to look that if probably at least 50% of the drivers on the grid today were given the right car and package, they would be a world champion.
So do you think if he'd been in the Red Bull over the last couple of years, he'd have been a world champion already?
Absolutely. There's no reason why he and, you know, maybe a number of other drivers wouldn't have done that as well, but certainly Paul could.
His teammate this year is pushing him a lot. I mean, they're coming together on the track even. What do you think Adrian's brought not only to the team but also to the relationship with Paul?
The idea when we brought Adrian in was that it would be as seamless as possible between what was happening between Paul and Nico. And in 2011, when Paul and Adrian were fighting each other, it was equally close. So what we wanted to do was keep the pressure on Paul, actually, you know, because each driver needs to be performing at their limit, and they need to give us quite a tough time, but we need to set it up so that they're having a tough time too.
Softs and super softs, they've been the subject of much debate. What do you make of those compounds, and how have your drivers found them?
We find them okay. I mean, they perform well on the car. It's just how long they perform well on the car for. But that's, again, the challenge for the Formula One teams. We're supposed to have the best brains in motorsport. We need to make them work, and we need to make them last. And that's a combination of the setup that we do on the chassis.
What would you be satisfied with at the end of the season?
I would probably be satisfied with making sure we get 6th place back. But I think there's a chink for 5th, and I know our beloved leader would love to be 5th, so I will amend it halfway through the season if that's the opportunity. But McLaren will come back very, very strong, and it will be hard for Force India to be able to resist, you know, their impact and their resources.
Yeah, so Force India, James, are making hay while the sun shines. Why is their car so good? Why are they ahead of McLaren in the Constructors' Championship at the moment?
Well, I don't think it's a car that's just sprung forward at the last minute. Most of the attention is always on the leading contenders in the championship, but if you look at Force India over the last 4 years or so, you'll see they've gradually been, season by season, moving forward. They're a very, very good outfit.
Okay, let's turn to your car then. Where are we going in terms of tyres? We've heard the news this week that Pirelli have changed the hard tyre, but then they're not bringing the soft tyre to the next race in Barcelona. Is that going to hurt you?
I don't think it will hurt us. Pirelli look a few races ahead at a time and give us the compound selections for the next few races based on what they've learnt so far in the year. So for Barcelona, for the first time in a long time, we're not taking hard and soft, we're taking hard and medium. We're taking the same selection to Monaco that we normally do, soft and super soft. But for Canada, again, we're getting a medium when previously we would have expected a soft.
Okay, so why do you think
it's going a bit more conservative? I think probably they've had a few people in their ear about maybe taking it a step too far, and they've gone a bit more conservative than we might have expected.
Okay, well, we'll see how that affects those people you're referring to. Red Bull, by the way. Okay, so with a bit of a gap until the European season, we thought we'd ward off the withdrawal symptoms with some compelling classic races, including 1 year with 5 winners in 5 different cars from the first 5 races.
We got a fire. Then Nigel Mansell spinning.
Oh, and Rosberg loses it.
There is the win for Nelson Piquet.
John Watson has won the Long Beach Grand Prix of 1983.
And Alain Prost waves both hands in joy.
Give out Petresi. Oh, yeah, that's a terrible mistake by Petresi.
The San Marino Grand Prix has been won by Patrick Torbe. And Sir Keke Rosberg, as he is in Finland, gets the cheers of the crowd. And after a superb race, the Williams team waves the Union Jack.
Brilliant stuff. What a season. Some great races. Classic races start with the 1983 Brazilian Grand Prix from 9 p.m. We'll also have the US Grand Prix, French Grand Prix, San Marino Grand Prix from Imola and Monaco Grand Prix from that year as well later on the channel. But next Friday, 8 p.m. before all that is the F1 show before we all head to Barcelona for our usual live and extensive coverage, starting with Friday practice May the 10th, qualifying May the 11th, from the race Spanish Grand Prix May the 12th. Do not miss it. Right, what can we look forward to for Barcelona for both of you? Let's start with you, Alexander. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of definitely want to continue on the Saturday from Bahrain, and it's a track rather that I've tested on in this car, so it's something that I'm going to be quite familiar with. So I'm not going to be going into Friday a bit blind, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Should make my life a little bit easier.
It's great getting back into the European races, isn't it? When do you anticipate the next win for your team?
I don't know.
Come on!
Do you have a chance in Barcelona?
We have a chance for sure, but it's a track a bit like Bahrain. So I think honestly the likelihood is that we may be not right up at the front in qualifying, but having a very strong race. But the car's good enough that it could win any time if we get everything absolutely right.
Because Fernando's going to be well motivated there, isn't he?
I expect so, yeah.
Okay, well, we will see what happens there. Quick prediction for Barcelona for F1 from you?
Right.
Alonso, Vettel?
Alonso.
Yep, okay. I tend to agree with you.
Done.
All right. Alexander,
We'll take that.
James, thank you very much for joining us and your company today. That's it for this week's F1 show. And even though there's no race next week, we will be back with another hour of news, views and analysis. So join us, usual time, usual place, 8 p.m. Friday night for next week's F1 show. But for now, from Natalie and me, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
And away we go here in Barcelona. It's victory for Williams, for Pasta in Spain. The lights out and away we go.
Oh, this is needed in Monaco.
And it's Webber on top in Monte Carlo.
Watch all 6 Sky Sports channels on your mobile and online.